Well, I'm joined now by Denisse Rudich, who is the founder and director of Rudich Advisory. Thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour. So, could an expansion potentially succeed, or would the principal founders still dominate the interests of this group?
So I think that there's nothing to stop the expansion of the group. You had at least 20 countries that applied to join. However, the BRICS, it operates based on commerce and economic interests. And one of the challenges is having kind of alignment around kind of ideological interest, a shared agenda, shared goals. You have seen challenges and tension between China and India in the past. But they have succeeded in creating a new development bank and providing financing to other countries. So in that respect, it could succeed in its expansion and have I guess, a stronger voice. However, it would continue to challenge, it would be challenged by forums such as the G20 and the G7.
Indeed, and lots of positive rhetoric and ideas coming out of the summit. But how concerned could the West be by any further expansion?
Some of the countries that have applied for membership are countries that are subject to sanctions, or have challenging relationships with the West. So Iran is one such country. Um, if there is progress made, there has been talk of creating a common currency for the BRICS countries, which I would say is a bit of a ways down the line, or moving away from the US dollar in terms of supporting trade financing facilities and kind of international just trade, which, there has been some movement towards using the Chinese yuan. Then definitely I think there could be some concerns. However, I think some of the Western countries and how they operate and how they're aligned, with the G7, they are democracies and they work together quite quickly and quite well, and they have a lot of mutual interests that extend beyond economics and beyond commerce. And I think this is where countries such as or groupings such as the G20 actually is able to bring together the BRICS countries plus whoever's going to be joining. Um, but also bringing together the Western countries and more of the G7 countries.
Do you think it's concerning, though, how we're seeing this major dividing line now coming up again in the global community?
Oh, I mean, absolutely concerning, specifically given where we are today. What I will say is, countries such as the US, the UK, European Union countries have also been doing a lot of outreach um, to try to kind of figure out how to bridge these divides and have more dialogue and open dialogue. There was a proposal to bring the African Union into the fold of the G20. Um, but you are hearing language around alliances and the like. What I do find interesting is for example, Prime Minister Modi has said that this is not an era of war. The Chinese president has tried to, put forward a peace agreement. Some of the African countries have also put forward a peace agreement or proposal for a peace agreement, or path towards peace. And the president of Brazil, President Lula, has said, this is an issue for Ukraine and Russia to deal with and to address. So again, in terms of the um, drawing the line and creating the division really is about, I think about it more around conflict, not necessarily economic lines, because the world is so integrated uh, in terms of trade that, China and the US still remain large trading partners. And so there are, I would say there are concerns, but hopefully, the language around maintaining peace will prevail, and, kind of the recognition that we need low food prices, that we need grains, that there needs to become some agreement towards kind of making sure that people are able to eat and that there is lower food inflation, will see sense.
OK, Denisse Rudich, thank you very much for joining us on the News Hour.